The Eco-Worthy Cubix 100 is their new UL-listed server rack battery. This one actually came with handles, and overall, it's relatively boring. It's a battery. Batteries don't have to be exciting, batteries have to work. The big question here is, does it? So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. Now the hunt for a budget battery is kind of an endless search. We have found a total of one so far that we would actually recommend to you guys, but even Eco-Worthy's older versions weren't perfect. They were good batteries, but they did have a performance issue that we found a little bit concerning at the time. They have released two new server rack versions since. We have the Cubix 100 and we also have a Pro version. So hopefully with these new batteries, they have gotten a little bit better. As always, we will leave links to this and any other batteries that we actually recommend in the description down below, as well as discount codes to save you guys as much money as possible wherever we can. But before we get into our experience using this thing for the last little while here at the lab, we'll hit you with a super quick spec teardown in case you're not already familiar with Eco-Worthy's Cubix 100. So first up, this thing weighs about 100 pounds, a pretty standard server rack weight. It is a 48 volt battery at 100 amp hours, so you get a total of 5,120 watt hours of total capacity. It also has a maximum charge and discharge of 100 amps, meaning from one battery, you can pull a total of 5,120 watts and charge it just as fast. This battery is rated to charge anywhere in between 0 degrees up to 55 degrees Celsius, and discharge down to -20 up to 55 degrees Celsius, which is a pretty good range. And if you take a look at the actual front of the battery right here, you can see there is actually a bunch of different communication ports. You have your typical CAN RS485s, you have a 232 as well, and then your parallel connectors right here. This battery does have an RSD, a rapid shutdown dry connect right here. You have dip switches on the front, which is weird because this battery says it has automatic protocol settings. We'll get into that in a minute. You don't have a screen on this battery, but it does have the alarm indicator lights, so if there is a problem, it'll at least light up for you. You got a button to turn on and off your BMS, breaker to control your battery output, and of course, 2 positive and 2 negative terminals. Otherwise, it's a very simple standard battery, metal casing all the way around. The handles are pretty nice. They don't fold, so they don't pinch your fingers. And if you take a look inside, if you actually go ahead and open this up real quick, you can see the temperature sensors, and everything in here is actually quite nice. All the wiring inside this battery is not rigid, which is actually a pretty common thing for batteries to be built with rigid, solid wires. So I guess things don't move around or whatever. But if you ever had to service a battery yourself where you wanted to, that's your thing, this battery would be way easier to work on, take apart, do all that kind of stuff than some other batteries on the market. It's also how they get the price down. Coming away from there though, this battery does work with Eco-Worthy's app, which is pretty cool. You can actually update it directly over the app and do a bunch of stuff, which is really nice. And right now, at the time of filming this video, with our discount code, this battery is $751, which is about half the price of a name brand battery. I think the first thing that we actually really liked about this battery is that it's compatible with a lot of major inverters. It actually comes pre-programmed with the Pylon protocol, which means you can literally just turn this thing on, update it if you need to, plug it into a nice EG4 inverter, and it rips. It just works seamlessly, but it also has communication with a ton of other brands like Victron, Lux Power, Growatt. There's a whole list of brands that this battery communicates with, which is nice because a lot of times the biggest con to a budget battery is the lack of true communication with inverters. The second biggest, most important thing I think that we like with this battery is that it is UL listed and it's $751. The watt cycle battery that we recently reviewed, which was actually the first one that we actually recommended to you guys as a budget option, is like 829. So this is a little bit less and you're still getting that UL listing. Something nice that Eco-Worthy also did with this battery is that most batteries have an app you can connect to, but this one allows you to push updates through directly from the app, which is pretty cool. Most batteries, most things you have to plug into and actually run that update. This can be done over the air, which we really liked. And it also performed really well in our testing, which is where most budget batteries just seem to fall short. It ran for more than 15 minutes at its rated 100 amps of continuous discharge. It took a 100 amp charge as advertised, and it actually even surged really well. We did repetitive surging on this thing over and over and over at 130 amps, which is a whole 30 amps over its rated output, and it just continued to perform. And we actually got it to a max surge of 152 amps. That one was just quick, it was a little blip, but at 152 amps, just to start something up or get something going, like an air conditioner or something like that, it's pretty impressive off of a single battery. You would need obviously more than just the one battery though, if you're gonna start a big 5-ton air conditioner or something like that. This battery alone wouldn't surge to start our compressor, which is over a 10,000 watt surge to actually get it up and running. Pretty significant, but overall for one battery, it did perform really well. And the main area that the old version of the Eco-Worthy battery failed was the freezer test. So before, what we were having happen was you'd put the battery in the freezer to simulate it being in a cold environment. We get it down to about -25 degrees Celsius in the deep freezer. When you turn it on, it should not take a charge or discharge any power at all. And they do that to protect the actual battery cells. Like the batteries are programmed not to work in cold temperatures for their own sake. The old battery was still working even though it was clearly showing on the app that it was under the temperature threshold where it's supposed to stop working. So it was a big concern for us because where we live, we get pretty cold winters. They last for a while. If your batteries were working in a temperature range where they're not supposed to, you're gonna extremely shorten the length of their life. This one, the new one, actually performed really well. We threw it in the freezer, left it for 24 hours, came back to it, turned it on, it wouldn't accept a charge or discharge any power, which is exactly what we want to happen in that test. So overall, we were really happy with how this thing performed. And then a couple other little small things that we just like about this battery. It supports closed loop communication. It has a built-in pre-charge circuit to avoid rush current on initial startups. It can support a maximum of 96% depth of discharge under both off-grid and backup applications. And we also actually liked the manuals this battery came with. A lot of these companies, when you're getting batteries from China, which is where honestly most of the solar stuff is still coming from anyways, the manuals are impossible to read and understand how to actually hook things up or run updates or different things that you might not understand. These manuals were just super easy to understand. If we needed to refer to them as an actual resource, we could, which normally does not happen. And the last little thing is that they actually have a BMS software that you can get on at least Windows. I actually don't know if you can get it on Apple products, but you can get it on Windows that lets you monitor all the settings that your app would let you monitor, but you can do it from an actual computer, which is a nice bonus. But not everything is perfect, and one thing that we wanted to bring up with this battery was that it does have a UL listing. It's the UL 9540A listing, which is basically for fire propagation, meaning that these cells, the battery cells inside the battery, are rated to not spread fire or thermal runaway in case of an actual fire. Most batteries that have this certification that we recommend to you guys have fire arresters built in. This one does not. It's obviously not a requirement to get that UL listing. It's just an extra precaution, but a lot of other batteries have actual fire arresters built in. So if there is a fire, it's basically like a built-in fire extinguisher and it helps to put that out. This one does not have those, though it does still have the certification, so just something to know. Another thing that we didn't necessarily like with this battery was that the manual and the whole product advertises automatic ID and protocol. So basically you connect this to multiple batteries when you're running them in parallel, and they should talk to each other and sort themselves out. I don't know how that's just a thing now in 2026. I feel like, I don't know why solar batteries are so far behind, but for the longest time, we've been going up and physically adjusting dip switches to tell the battery which number it is in sequence. So if you have them in the cabinet, you have one at the top, 6 at the bottom or whatever, so that your inverter knows which battery is which. They've just started implementing auto ID, which is crazy to me, but this battery still has these switches on the front. The point being, it's claiming auto, but you still have to go and actually manually adjust these switches to make the batteries work properly in parallel. So we just don't fully understand what the auto claim is supposed to mean. We also just wish it had a screen. I know it doesn't really matter, but state of charge indicators can be really vague sometimes. It doesn't tell you exactly where your battery's at. It doesn't tell you, even if you have an alarm go off, the light will light up red, but you don't know what it is. You have to connect to the app or use the software to figure it out. Having a screen doesn't add a ton of money to a battery like this, and it allows you to figure out problems if you're having problems just instantly on the spot, whereas this is just a little bit more work. You have to go to your app or your computer or something like that. So at the end of the day, this is another budget battery that we would actually recommend to you guys, which is pretty impressive for us because we didn't recommend Eco-Worthies in the past. It's a good battery. It's fine. It's not exciting. It doesn't do anything crazy that impresses us. The app is cool, but otherwise it's just a battery. But if you don't need to fork out all that cash on something like an EG4, then you basically get 2 of these for the price of 1 of those batteries. So if all your system requires is what this battery has to offer, I don't see why you wouldn't just go with something like this, save your money, and invest it elsewhere, either in a bigger system, more solar panels, or just save it in general. They do also have a pro version of this, which is supposed to work a little bit better in cold weather. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you're subscribed. We have a video coming out on that battery soon here on the channel. Otherwise, for the price of this battery, even versus the watt cycle, I think it's a no-brainer to just scoop these if they're all you need. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Otherwise, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out and stay charged.